So. Oh yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Taylor Rip, how's it going? Hey Kuru, Master 777 knows, thanks for the host. It's weird. I thought it would make a noise. Let's restart that and let's see what happens. Hey Amir. Good evening. Good evening. Alright, I don't know if that works or not. Weird stuff. So I was thinking I'll sketch around a little bit, like as per usual. It was great hanging out with everyone on the Hangout, on the Discord Hangout. It was cool stuff. It was a bit too late for me though. I woke up with a little bit of a hangover. It was that last whiskey I took. It was a bad move. I knew it was a bad move as well, but you know, had to pay for it. Lure, that's great. Kuro, yeah, something like that. Yeah, definitely. No topic. Time's up. Time is up. Yes. Yeah, it was good talk. Nice, just kind of hanging out and not having to do anything in particular. That just kind of sit and be a bit drunk. Wow, Schmace. Welcome back. What did you miss this week? I stopped painting and did line art only, and stop taking topics. I think for the coming week, I'm just gonna do comfort zone sketching and kind of see what comes out. Looking at like statistics of the line art posts, they are a lot more a lot more people like them. Hey, Rogue 13 pull account, thanks for the host. Hey, Sayart. Hey, G or Janelle Jumalam. Thanks for the host. Now I don't understand why it's not showing on stream label. Like I should be able to do this. Alright. And you should see it on the stream. But I don't get it. I don't get it. So as per usual, passenger is going to connect later. There's no rush at the moment, I think. Sayard, I think it's a duck. I don't know. I think it's like maybe a cat. Or what I'm drawing, I mean. No, it's not a duck. It just looks like a duck at the moment. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know if it's going to be a head, this part. I'm thinking maybe it's the back. It's the back of some creature. We'll see. I haven't decided yet what I'm drawing. I'm just kind of drawing shapes. See what comes out of it. Hey, that mute guy. How's it going? Why the sad face? Why are you sad? Hey, Noviart. Thanks for the host. Kuru. Mutated Donald Duck, yeah. I'm kind of just I have no idea what I'm drawing, to be fair. I don't have a goal yet. I'm kind of just moving my hand. Something will probably come out of it. Sayart. Atlantis. It was with. Maybe. I might remember it. Shumace, that's crazy. Oh yeah, that's true. Hey, passenger, welcome. That's great. Yeah. You know what's something that's pretty cool is that a part that I really love is that I haven't announced my stream anywhere except, letting you guys know that it starts at this time. But I haven't like made any posts on Facebook or Twitter or any build up whatsoever. It's just I clicked go live and a bunch of people show up, which is really cool, which makes me happy. Not that, you know, not from that ego point of view, not at all, but the fact that there's interested people that want to hang out, and all these things. I mean, it's not like any crazy stream with thousands of viewers. We're, what, like 10, 11, but it's still cool. Obviously, I could have done a better job at promoting the stream, but it'll come. At some point, I'll start pushing the whole marketing machinery. But for now, I think I'll just chill a bit. I think this is gonna turn out some sort of machine monster. And I'm not sure that this is gonna be the face. We'll see what I'll do. It looks too much like a face at the moment. It's those eyes. I'm gonna remove the eyes. So I stop looking at it like a face. John Grillo, I know of him. I don't know him, like, personally. I've never met him. I hope. I wouldn't say I recognize the name though. I've seen him on internet. So, well, that's cool. It's good that he streams quite often. Watching streams are cool. I like it. Arabia like an art sect. Say it, yeah. Stalkers. The whole lot of you. Just a bunch of stalkers. I love doing these kind of drawings where you don't really know like where you're going. And just draw something, allowing yourself to fail. I kind of want to split this shape up a bit, make something interesting out of it. I'm not sure really which direction this machine is pointing. But it's going Yeah, I like it. I like it. So my son was uh, at his friend's birthday party today, and my son came home with, like the kids always get some sort of treats and candy and whatever. And he came back with some sort of liquid candy spray. And I mean, if you get candy in liquid form, you know it's not good for you. So I looked at what they said on the ingredients list, and it was some very long chemical names and probably things you shouldn't be eating. If you saw it on the shelf, you would probably think that this is not food. I shouldn't be putting this inside of my body, but because it's a colorful bottle, all of a sudden you give it to your kids. Anyways, it said on the back, like, warning, this contains acid. Spray only in your mouth and only under grown-up supervision, and do not give to kids under 3. So I was thinking, like, I didn't take it away from him, but I read that out loud for him, so he could think a little bit of what he's eating. But of course, he's a kid; he doesn't really care. He likes the taste. But yeah. Hey Yatsuki, how's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, like today it's gonna be, I feel like a laid back stream. Kind of just hanging out. Would be cool if the body of this machine was like a crawfish, and that, like, on the inside was like a stinger. Does it just still becomes a duck? Maybe I'm fresh out of luck. I was contemplating if I should start rhyming, and I was thinking in my mind, like, nope, Bjorn, don't do it. You suck at rhyming. And it ended just there. Well, we'll see. That's awesome, Sarah. Yeah, you should put on that ambient noise, like the one that Lou posted on Discord. Hurri, yeah. Not really. I would I would fail so hard at rapping. I have definitely not spent any energy practicing on my rap game. I would just I would just kind of implode out of shame, just invert, become a black hole or something. Ugh. No, I'm I'm like embarrassed just thinking about the idea of starting rapping on live on Twitch. It would not end well. Hey, John Silva. Good morning. How's it going? Passenger, yeah. Of all the flavors, you choose to be salty. So good. I don't know if I don't know if I said good morning. It's just by default. I'm just used to streaming in the morning, and it comes out like good morning. Like I don't care. Good evening. I just don't care. No, my brain is just not working. It's too little alcohol in the system. I need more alcohol to operate. It's not enough wine. That's the problem. No, John Silva. Today I'm gonna. There's this 2 week challenge I'm doing on my Discord. Um, so tonight I'm gonna do painovers and give feedback with a passenger here. And before that, I thought I just sketch a little bit and see what comes out. I currently have no idea what I'm drawing. I'm just kind of moving the hand and designing something that I don't really know what it's supposed to be. For the longest time, it looked like a duck. Now I have no idea. Yeah, I think we should do a hangout as well after the stream. So I think I'll do maybe 10 more minutes of just random sketch, and uh, and then when it feels good, let's go through the entries and give some feedback. Probably need to do some tweaking of sound levels as per usual with Passenger, but it should work. I later on also want to experiment with split screen streaming. Um, I have yet to try it out or try to hack OBS, but I think I got a pretty good idea of how to do it. I just need to find some time to put it together. I got a pretty good idea of how to do it. Um, Only if OBS allows me, but I think I think it should work. I think I can kind of hack it a bit. It works in my mind. We'll see. Cool, yeah. Yeah, I've done so many stuff like that. My friend, he was actually a hacker for quite some time. It was really interesting to see how it's done, how it's not like in done like in they portray it in movies. Yeah, he was a pretty good hacker as well. It's cool to see. You definitely definitely had to be careful connecting, like protect his like traceability, like how well can he be traced as soon as he starts doing like illegal things on the internet. Obviously hacking is not legal, but it was interesting to hear him explain everything and things like that. It's pretty cool. I kind of want to give him a second pair of arms. Let's copy this section. And put it like a shoulder there maybe. And then cut that out. And then cut that out. No. Third. Yeah, maybe it's too much of a go-to move. It's that a design have been done on so many things. It loses a bit of interest for me when I just do that. It's a little bit like I'm cheating. Okay, let's erase things maybe. Yeah, okay. Okay. I can dig it. Yeah, today is definitely, I can feel it's, I still feel the hangover a bit that I had in the morning. My energy level is definitely not the highest. But it'll be good. It'll be good. Or we could actually do the. I was thinking about the Google Hangout. When I finish this stream, I can stop streaming and switch on again, um, or just we all just go to the hangout and I don't need to record it. Could just kind of, you know, hang out without having to be worrying about what you're saying and what you're showing. So it's not like fully public. I think that's probably better. I do not like what I'm drawing. It's becoming something that's very strange. But it's okay. It's good to experiment. Let's cut this out. It was kind of boxing the design in a bit too much. I think that's better. Slightly more dynamic. Passenger, yeah. Yeah, we're past our bedtime. All right. How about passenger? We start looking at the challenge. I'll connect to the hangout, the secret hangout. No. Where's bookmarks? So
Hello.
let's see if the people are complaining about sound level. So you have to talk.
It's on. Welcome. Good evening, everybody.
Let's look.
Good to see you guys again.
It should be boosted. Audio should be boosted already.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
I think they should. There. It's good. No one's screaming. Okay, sounds good.
Okie dokie. Yeah. Good to be back again. How's things? Easy Saturday evening.
Yeah, it's all good. Like I mentioned, I'm pretty tired in the head. Hey, Michal, good morning. How are you? Dennis.
Hello. All good. Same thing. Kinda been busy all day, and also in the twilight zone a little bit. But also looking forward to going through the challenges because some really good stuff this time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So this is one Amir Levy. And maybe you can say the topic.
Let's see. Ooh, I have to actually open the file because I just uploaded the new challenge, by the way.
Mm.
And let's see, the previous one was called A Surprising Reflection. And the topic, little story, was the following. She had been cleaning her old grandmother's attic all day, but somehow Stacy overlooked that big object in the corner, covered in sheets. She walked towards it and recognized it was an old mirror. She pulled the sheets off, expecting to see herself, but the mirror showed her something she could have never imagined.
Ooh.
Somehow it sounds better when I write it down than I read it up, but that was the topic. It's a girl discovering a mysterious mirror in the attic, basically.
Mm. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool topic.
Yeah, I figured make a little bit of a environment character challenge combination.
Mm. Yeah, for Amir's here, I think there's some issues. For me, what instantly stood out was that the mirror and background was all the same color. That you couldn't see. It could might as well have been a hole. You see, you don't really see that it's a mirror.
Hmm.
It could look more like be an arc. So what I did was just separate it with color a little bit. The first thing I did.
Make it stand out a little bit more as a different material.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the second thing that breaks it is the shards. I think they have too much. It's too much contrast. Uh, I think it's good that they do stand out, but I think the difference is too big. Like they glow insane amount, and those are the only three things that glow if you look at his original, and it takes away from the focal point, which is the cat and the reflection of the demon in the back in the mirror.
Hmm. They
So
kind of pull too much attention there with the high contrast they had going on.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's good that they do stand out. I mean, it shows that it splinters out, but I think it's just a little bit too much. Kuru says you should have read that topic with a little bit more drama.
Yeah, I'll practice my dramatic voice for the next one.
Yeah, you set the scene, set the tone with some acting.
Some background music going on, stuff like that.
For sure.
Yes,
Another, yeah, go ahead.
carry on. Yeah, I was thinking of entering this challenge myself because I had a kind of similar idea in my head as this image. I mean, the camera angle and the position of the character. And what I was really struggling with in my idea was how to get some additional light source into the image, basically. And
Mm,
I thought of something really obvious, like a big window or something. But in this image, I really like how the light comes through those cracks. I thought that was a really cool idea to add an additional light source, basically.
yeah, definitely. The biggest problem for me is just it's very monochromatic.
I think there's actually also quite a lot of symbols and stuff like that on the mirror, which I think could have a little bit more contrast as well to read a little bit better and stand out more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, but I think they're good. I think the one of the problems is that it's treated the same way.
Hmm.
Um, what usually happens when you zoom in too much is the classic problem of not painting everything as the scene as a whole, uh, but just locally well defined edges. You know, like it shows that the Amir zoomed in and fixed the details without thinking about the whole picture, the whole scene, and how the light interacts on the whole mirror and everything, so that the light isn't even across the whole mirror. It has to be more situational, if that makes sense.
hmm The thing about working on the details and everything in the same level. One thing I noticed from collecting a couple of challenge entries for this time is that a lot of people use incredibly huge canvases, up to like 5,000, 7,000 pixels wide or high. And I think if you're in this sketch and in this phase, basically, you don't need that much of a big canvas, basically. And it also makes that you quickly zoom in way too much when I'm working on smaller areas all the time. So I
Yeah,
would recommend people to start with a smaller image at first, maybe maximum of 2000 height or 2000 wide. And then if you really start detailing it or rendering it, you can always, up the resolution and make it bigger later on. But if you start from a really big canvas, you literally have to paint it on it. That's sometimes going to make it more difficult
yeah. Well, the urge to zoom in is too easy to do when if you have a high resolution.
then.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just that with a small res image, you can't, and it becomes more obvious when you try to zoom in that you can't. So you stay away from zooming in more,
Hmm.
and it becomes more obvious that you approach the painting completely differently.
Yep. Yeah, I would be really overwhelmed if I was working with a 7,000 pixel canvas. Like, ooh, that's a lot of space to fill, basically, a lot of details.
Yeah, but yeah, it becomes a issue in itself if you don't deal with it correctly.
Really like the mood and the atmosphere of the image a lot. It's really like a good connection between those characters, cool, mysterious vibe going on.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Nice
a really
animation.
cool image. I really like it. So all I'm doing is just kind of playing with the light a little bit more, enhancing things that I think uh, it's missing. It felt a bit too controlled and static and monochromatic. So what I've just been trying to do is just liven the gradients up a bit.
Hmm.
And I think the girl probably is too. I mean, obviously, girls look different. Everyone has different body types, but I find her being a little bit too masculine.
Too bulky, maybe.
Yeah, you don't think of her as a girl when you see her initially. You associate her more with the man than a girl. If you just look at the mass. Let's see. I'm gonna try something here.
Like those cats on top of the mirror. Really nice secondary read with those.
Yeah,
Bunch of cool ones in there going through those.
yeah. I just wanted to separate the top halves so that the whole thing becomes a little bit more complicated. And when it comes to the colors and the gradients of what's been painted. the biggest drawback of digital is how easily you can go to be too careful and too safe with the colors. I think it's a bit too much blue, but I'll bring it back. I'm gonna heat it up a bit and then desaturate it.
Works nice for the woodwork up there. Gives it a bit of a warmer, more realistic wood color that way.
Was just playing with bounce light and so on. But I think the image itself, the composition is great. We understand what's happening. I think what he could do, spend more time. I'm assuming Mir is a guy. Is just kind of work the image as a whole. You know, keep pushing it and keep thinking about colors and edges and making sure that he introduces more than one hue in the image across the whole image. You know, so that the shadow has a temperature, the light has a temperature. So the light from the outside shining in has its temperature versus the temperature of the cat. You know, so that otherwise we will look at the picture and read it, you know, as he wants to, but it becomes lifeless because all the light is treated the same way, with the same color.
Could even like enhance a little bit of those dust specks coming to the woodwork, where you see these little bits that catch a little bit more light.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that story-wise, the mirror is featuring those two cats, so I think the mirror has a connection with the cats anyway. And it's also really cool, the reveal of the cat coming out of it. What is less clear for me is the evil side of the story with the monster on top, basically.
Mm.
And at this point, I wouldn't really recognize it as such. And I'm thinking maybe it's better to remove it altogether, as for me, it doesn't really add to the story much.
Mm. Other than that, it's evil.
Hmm.
But maybe the cat itself is just enough for it to be evil. You know, I mean, or if you would remove the cat, but the cat has so much connections already in the mirror, etc. So it
Hmm.
would, like you say, it would probably make more sense to just remove the demon up there.
Now it's kind of like the old cat mirror with the magical cat appearing out of it.
Mm. Let me just do something quickly. A quick Google. Let's see. Okay, let's do that one.
Ah, Mina, always good. Can't go wrong with that. Oh yeah, face reflection.
Just a little bit to have her in the location.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Also to break it up with those shards.
Mm.
Good stuff.
And I think also what's annoying with the cloth hanging, I think it needs to be it needs to still be on the mirror a bit. So we
I really like the way the light falls on it though, on the left bottom corner. It's a really nice, realistic looking sheet that way.
mm, so I think just having some more cloth hanging on the mirror will help sell the idea of what it is.
And tell a little bit more about the actual reveal, just moment that just happened, basically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a really cool, mysterious moment going on.
Yeah.
Captured that really well.
Yeah, so these would be the changes, direct changes I would do. Obviously, I would continue pushing it in that direction. But for the sake of time, I think we've given Amir here at least some food for thought to keep exploring.
Yep. Yeah, definitely cool stuff. It's an image worth taking to the next step and final rando phase.
Yeah. Let's see, where should I save it? Judge. Is it 6 or 5?
This is the sixth.
This was the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Amir.
Yeah, good job, Amir.
Yeah, very cool.
And cool to see you entering the challenge. Looking forward to the next work.
Yeah. So next one, arms. I'm assuming arms didn't finish.
Nope, but for the sake of continuation and because it's a very cool drawing and potential image, I decided to throw it in there anyway.
Mm. I think it has loads of potential. I really like the feel and the of the roof and the kind of crampedness of the location. Like it
Mhm.
feels very intimate. Um, this there's some confusion though with the X shape. It's not obvious what's happening there, and also with the girl with the broom and why she's doing what she's doing. I think as a narrative is a little bit odd.
Well, I think it's on the brief where she's cleaning the attic, of course, and then she would discover the mirror. The one thing I have difficulty recognizing is the mirror, basically.
Yeah, obviously the mirror is here, but then that shape, and then there's a line there. It's a bit confusing for me.
Yep. Yeah, and we have to restate it's not a finished image.
Yeah, absolutely. Ohms definitely knows how to finish things, and this we can see it's not. Uh, Basic light also is a bit weird that there's a big section of light on the one part of the butt, and then it's the same size like that. I would probably light bigger part of the butt and reduce the amount that kind of goes into the volume, depending on which way he wants to rotate her body. You know, we can do the other way as well, where we give more light on her shoulders if that's where arms want to pull the story. You know, where we should look. And have this all in shadow. I mean, it's all down to what Ohms had in mind of what the story should be. But her broom going up like that, it feels like she's defending or pulling. I mean, maybe the monster can hold her broom, and she's like trying to pull away. But it's a bit hard to understand the idea.
Yeah, I'm looking into the image to trying to find an answer to that. Maybe I thought maybe she was pulling away the covers with the broom, but
Mm. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. But overall, I'd say it's a great start.
cool line work. I like that loose style of drawing, basically.
Hmm. And the roof looks very promising, and like there'll be a lot of cool little details.
Hmm
And I like it that this guy comes out and there's like small gingerbread ninja ghosts.
Those
Uh,
are I really like those little fellas there.
yeah, and
There's
this
always
guy,
something about Holmes' images that makes me happy when I view them. There's always this cool, funny element to them as well.
yeah, and the same with Amir. Her body is a bit chunky, very square or box-like. Uh, so I would probably adjust some more of the proportions so that it feels more like a girl uh, rather than a man. Uh, very box-like proportions, especially on the torso. But one thing I think with the narrative at this stage, these gingerbread men, they feel very cut and paste. They don't feel like they're moving.
Hmm
But I really like them. I think if he would spend more time actually posing them and having them placed in the world, now they're very the same kind of horizontal eyes, and it's losing a lot of depth. Uh,
hmm
but it's a really cool start. And this girl also, her pose, she stands with the legs very narrow, even though there's lots of motion. So maybe he could move the leg out of it. Like she's using that leg more, not taking a step back.
Like the foot kind of feels like she was tripping over a little bit.
Mm. Now she feels more like she's leaning back and trying to escape. Yeah, but I think as it's an unfinished sketch, I think it's too much loose
Too,
ends.
too much sketching for us where he would take it, but definitely
Yeah.
has potential.
Mm.
Hope to see some improvements or updates on this one. Thinking
Yeah.
that maybe those purple and green guys need to be a little bit neonish, with a little
Mm.
transparent or something. I think that was the idea I was going for.
Hmm. Yeah, I think they need to be more fleshed out. Just the idea, they feel a
Hmm
bit just blob-like. But as it's just a sketch, it's we don't know where it would have gone.
Let's hope he finishes it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I really like the idea, and the framing also, the composition is cool. That being said, uh, it's quite square, the composition, and I'm wondering if it shouldn't be more widescreen
Hmm
and probably offset. Wherever that might go. But she's very dead center in Alm's original.
hmm Maybe move her to the thirds a little bit more.
Yeah, I think this direction is probably better because otherwise she's just very, everything happens here and it becomes two images, but it's cool.
Yep, good stuff. Take it further, Holmes. Looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
And hey, narrator, welcome. Okay, dear Bards. He also didn't finish. He took it as far as he could, he mentioned. I think it's cool.
I really like it a lot. I like that that drawing style. Reminds me a lot of some French comic book artists.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well, some things though stand out for me when I look at it, which makes me confused. One of them being the cross up there. Probably would have put it more, feels like it's off center and probably too high. I don't know why, it bugs me.
Yeah, it's a little bit small also, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of far away that way.
Yeah, and the clothes rack, and I think it stands on the clothes hanger going up, but a lot of perspective lines feels like third point perspective, like we are looking from low up, but then we're looking down at her shoes, and the arc on her shorts are very high like that. I think it's just a little bit confusion. Like we're seeing her head from the side, we're looking up at the roof. It's just small issues with perspective, I think, that could have been dealt differently. Like if we,
I think the perspective is a little above her knee, the horizon line, right?
yeah, I think here the perspective works. Here the perspective still works. But if we start introducing both halves, the image starts to break, especially with the shorts. The shorts is a big contributor. And then
you would kind of look down on the shorts more than upwards.
Yeah, or flat. And another thing is the duster. I would make it more, maybe not like that. Make it more obvious, like what it is, and have more focus on it.
Right. Yeah. That's I actually completely overlooked that one, so that's a good point.
Yeah, it gets a bit lost. Another thing is this whole section, the folds. They make 3 lines like that, which makes it really hard to understand what's happening. Obviously there's her chest that should create the fold, and then her t-shirt. But the problem is where do you add the information so it feels like flowing cloth rather than just lines added to suggest that it's a cloth. And usually with folds you have to think about movement and like like let's say hilltops of a form. Like if I just stand, a t-shirt hangs, it hangs from the edge of my shoulder down, and depending on fabric, it has different kind of way of hanging and how quick it hangs and how heavy it hangs and so on. So if there's a t-shirt, usually there's always like an edge leading from where the fold is created, and on his, it just felt like,
Because it's so light material, you would see big indications of the folds, basically.
yeah, and stress points like of where is it hanging off a volume down, and on his it's undefined. It's just like for me it's a lot like uh, an amoeba like. Like there's no direction of the fabric. There's no
More
tension. There's
more following the outer lines than the shape of the actual body, basically.
yeah, exactly. So if you want to add lines to a fabric, you should spend some time thinking like what direction is she moving, you know, where should the what is holding the t-shirt, uh, and you know where does it become a stress point like in the fabric. um, I think her face expression, I think is great. There's some issues with the thumb and mouth. Like I'm assuming she's biting her mouth, but or hand, but that is more like that signaling is more um like
Like she's doubting or thinking about something.
yeah, and it becomes like she has to bite herself to not go over the threshold or something, and it becomes a little bit weird. I mean, I think it's better if she has her hand like away from her mouth, uh, and not like swallowing her fist.
Hmm.
It makes
Maybe even in an ooh kind of expression where she's more showing more surprise than now. It's kind of like she has a dilemma or something, and she's really thinking about something really hard.
yeah. The biggest issue is just signaling the emotion, right? Um, and ramming your fist in the mouth might not be the cleanest. I get the idea of what he's doing and why he's doing it. Like she's surprised, um, but always you got to think about what signals you're sending, like what cues. Um,
I really like her sideburns, but I think they could be a little less 1970s, a little shorter,
yeah,
show a little bit more of the elegance of her face that way. Now it's more like a mask, like
yeah, yeah. The sideburns are definitely obstructing. But like you said, he's not finished, so we have to also take that into account.
hmm yeah. And
Uh,
also on a positive account, I really, really like the light, the outside light in this one. How we used that in this image.
yeah,
It's very minimalistic, but very effective, I believe.
yeah. What I think, what I think he should have done also is um, he should have had her silhouette in the light, so that she's obstructing the light that being cast on the
Hmm.
mirror to tie the two together more, and also have the light continue in the scene.
Hmm. Yeah, you could even darken the top and the bottom a little bit to enhance that light beam feeling somewhat.
Mm. Another thing I think what he could have improved on is the way that the tentacles are coming out of the painting. They feel very binary, like on or off. They just kind of strangely end or start, and there's no like sense of that they're coming out from behind the mirror. Uh, I would make sure to try to show that a little bit more, so we get the idea that it's actually coming out of the mirror and towards us. Because otherwise, it just cuts. It just becomes exist into existence, and we're missing that it's actually from the squid coming into the out of the mirror.
Hmm. Could actually be something that is lying in front of the squid instead of actually coming out of the mirror.
Yeah, and also some of the shapes of the tentacles, they're very uniform, and almost no tapering. If you look at actual squid tentacles, they have a little bit more interesting shapes to them, and they tend to twist and turn a lot more. And the back of the tentacle has a specific way of behaving, and tentacles usually have skirts uh, where the top and bottom meet, like a snake. Uh, that the underside and the top side is different on the snake.
Hmm.
Yeah, the sideburns is definitely, I think, an issue. But it's a small issue. It's just a matter of taste and tiny tweak. Kuru was agreeing to the point. I think overall, though, it's a cool drawing. It shows loads of potential, and it feels like a classic Dearbard. The way it's like a illustration for a magazine.
Hmm.
It's
Pretty
very,
style coming forward again.
yeah, it's very carefully constructed and well placed with that in mind. Uh, I think she might be too tall, by the way.
Mm.
Proportionally, like from shoulder to hip.
The one time we get to see a really tall girl, we're gonna make her smaller.
Yeah, but I think it's something's off. I think it's yeah, it's torso is too long.
She gets to keep her long legs. That's good stuff.
Yeah, but the torso was way too long. And yeah, and Michal says the mirror is out of perspective. It's probably quite true. I think the top right corner is bending a bit too much in. Probably should
And
be.
making a tangent with the closet behind it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It stops right there. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think one thing that also Amir, but Amir and Alms had both had the cloth. I think Dearbard could have put in the cloth in the scene. Um, maybe cover a portion of the mirror
Hmm.
as is a part of the story.
And also the reveal moment, better explained that way.
Yeah, and like I talked about the clothes hanger. Um, it's a bit hard to see what it is. Maybe break the silhouette of things. And if it's the cupboard door, it's off center. Easy way to get the center of object in perspective is corner to corner. and you get the middle point. So the line of the wardrobe should probably be here. But that's basic stuff. Probably knows it, he just missed it.
Good stuff again, dear Bart. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you take this one further. Even though you didn't have time to finish it, it's again an image well worth finishing. So definitely spend some more time on that.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. I feel like she might be a little bit squeezed into the frame slightly. But the problem is, like, how much could you move her so the image still works? So I think if you'd move her or expand the canvas slightly, the adjustment would be small, but might improve.
A little bit expanding to the right side, basically. Like
Yeah,
you need to follow the floor lines, and you're basically done with.
Yeah, she feels a little bit like she's sitting in she's at the edge of a box and she's leaning at the edge, onto the edge of the box, you know. Okay, so this is Fur. It's the first one, right? Fur hasn't submitted anything before.
Don't think so. First time, yeah. Always good to see new people entering.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, obviously this one isn't finished either.
That seems to be the common theme for tonight. People
Yeah.
kind of were rushing with this one, it seems.
Yeah. One thing that's instantly sticks out is what's up with her teeth.
I think it's the hair behind.
Yeah, I know, but and I'm assuming this is a hand holding her shirt. But I think I like the idea of showing us like a strong arm coming out of the mirror, and then the mirror being nothing behind it. I think that's a really cool idea. Maybe it's just subtle, slightly show the mirror in perspective, and probably need some more information there about like how it's attached or something, just so we get an idea more of what it is, rather than just a monolith or something, you know. Show us the mirror. But I dig the composition. I dig the idea. The background is a bit too like measured and too arranged. I would probably try to put the background more in perspective rather than we seeing it dead from the side. It flattens a lot of things and it ruins the illusion of depth that she's in a room.
I would say that with such a very light background, you would actually not see as much of their colors, but they'd be more darker silhouettes that way. The backlit by a very heavy light like that.
Yeah.
So I would consider also toning down that very light a little bit. So
I mean, it would work as well. I mean, it would have a cool silhouette work, and having a strong narrative that way. That could also work. I mean, if Fer would want to go that line of having her backlit, I mean, it doesn't break the picture. I think it could be a cool tool, but you could also scale it down and have the narrative between her and the mirror, and increase the light source from there, and and that would just change the story. He or she, I don't know what Fer is, would want to communicate. It works either way, but whatever direction chooses, you should try to take it all the way and not be in the middle.
I think it would really help as well to separate the image into easy to understand planes with foreground, middle ground, and background. Because
Yeah,
right now there's a lot of same value groups in the foreground and in the midground, basically. And if you separate that a little bit more, then you can also make easier choices, like with that backlight, for example, or the silhouette you're going to use and that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Kind of push the things in the foreground out further by pushing the background back a little bit more.
Yeah,
And that way you also create a bit wider value range with not those elements in the midground not having the same values as the elements on the foreground.
yeah. And sideburns everywhere. That's interesting. Kuro. Yeah. Hey, Kuiba. Yeah, it's an extra stream, Saturday extra stream.
Hello.
Um,
Good.
so
Always
Kuiba,
happy.
if you are a member of the Discord, we announced that we would go through the challenge entries today at this time. And I think again, like with all the other ones, we should show the cloth in the scene.
Yep. Yeah, it's an important part of the brief. And if we're going to be critical art directors, we want all the elements mentioned in the brief visible in the image.
Yeah. But that being said, I enjoy the bluntness of the composition. Like it's dead from the side, and it does show a really cool, like an artificial depth with the arm coming out of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really cool little decision that Fur made, which has quite a cool impact.
Really gives you that look behind the mirror feeling where, hey, there's nothing there, which adds to the mystery and question, like, where the hell is that arm coming from there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And another thing, one thing that bugs me a bit is where is her other hand? And her hand that's on him is a little bit, awkward. Maybe she has her hand uh, like clasping the other hand on this side, so we at least see some sort of continuation of her. So it's just not comic book or it's too simplified where she's just existing in a two-dimensional plane. Because if yeah, go ahead.
Of course, hands are also a very strong story element, so you're missing out on the chance of adding more story if you leave out the other hand, basically.
Yeah, and also because of the decision of making it like this straight side view, we want to enhance the sense of depth and not reduce the sense of depth. So by adding a third dimension will help a lot.
Basically, because you took this bold front view, you have to work that away a little bit by adding some depth and feel of 3D that way.
Hey, plumbers apparently is far from Discord. Cool. So you did a cool image, but I think what we've done, what we've given Fur now is enough ammunition to giving her a mustache, uh, giving enough information to be able to take it further. I mean, we could start dissecting it and drawing everything correctly and so on, but that defeats the purpose. I think we've given enough feedback to how to take it further, and then it's up to Fur if he/she wants to
Yep.
push it.
Yeah, bring out the mirror a little bit more. Try to separate the planes, create some more depth in the two-dimensional view.
Mm.
Good stuff to work with.
Yeah, and decide, is it backlit or frontlit?
Mm-hmm. I think this actually works kind of cool when it's backlit and with the dark silhouette depth.
Yeah, it becomes very strong silhouettes, and the narrative enhances.
Yep.
You start to reading it horizontally like this with a like a hard highlight. It's cool. I dig it.
Yes, it is.
Save. Next one. Ooh, Kuro. Interesting. I really enjoyed Kuru's thumbnails.
The stream image was a little bit behind me. Now I also see it on my screen.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, different color concepts we uploaded for this one, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One thing that's interesting, by flipping it, it becomes, where is the narrative? Are we with the girl or against the girl? By flipping the direction.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think works best is not the way Kuru uploaded it. Reason being is that we start in the west, we start top right, top left to bottom right. That's how we approach an image by default, because it's the way we read a page.
Mm-hmm.
And if we flip it, we start seeing the construction that fans out, and then we land on her. I think the opposite flip makes it a lot stronger composition, because we instantly go to her, which is the focal point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of the left to right read where you're following her to the next chapter, basically. Where
Yeah.
now it's kind of she is at the beginning of the previous chapter.
Yeah.
I put that the other way around, but
Yeah, I get it. And one thing I'm confused about is her hand, and why it looks like she's brushing the wall in depth
I
behind
think
her.
for her feeling, she was brushing the mirror, and she kind of pushed through the mirror into this whole new world that she's after the mirror, beyond
Mm.
mirror, basically. So
Yeah,
I think it's unintended cleaning of the mirror, basically.
yeah. I mean, in that case, um, you don't want. For me, it's a bit. It's not communicated clearly of what's happening, and the fact that she ends just at the wall, even though now the hand is also at the edge of the wall, but at least it doesn't feel like she's brushing the wall. Now we have multiple objects she's overlapping, and
Creates a little bit more depth between them.
yeah, a cleaner depth. And I get the idea of wanting to show depth, but for me, values, they play a big part in how you describe depth, and how far back something is. It makes it fall back into, like volumetric fogging.
The atmospheric perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And you gotta be really careful of the darks in an image, especially if you want to show depth. Uh, Let me try to find an image and I'll show you.
Yeah, it's really tricky. You get that with environments too, that you want to
Yeah,
add more contrast in your image and you use darker values basically, but the values you're using at that area locally in the image basically might actually be way too dark for that spot.
yeah, exactly. And here you see it's a marketing art I did for a game, uh, and I had to balance the amount of black in the shadows, but still keep it the contrast relative to where they are or how they're being lit. But we
Mhm.
need to separate them in depth by just reducing the amount of black, depending on how much
So in
the
this image, you might have had some real dark blacks in that big object in the background, but you had to push them back with those atmospheric greens basically to really make them fit in that area and make them look further away.
exactly. I mean, but you can't lose the relationship between light and shadow, but it just can't be as a high contrast because of depth.
Hmm. So the further away you go, the less contrast you have, and that's also why the characters up front have really high contrast.
Yeah, exactly. And when you play with stuff like that, you gotta be really mindful uh, of the amount of black in the relationship
Hmm.
of light and shadow. And in his case here as well, he had a super worked on edge on the side of the building, and that took so much attention. Like he's really been pushing it. If I switch off those, you see that edge in the background.
That would lose a lot of contrast and sharpness because it's further away, basically.
Yeah, but also it takes a lot of attention because the way we read the image,
Hmm.
you still want that, but you just don't want it to be as high contrast in order to make the eye still read everything, but not be over what's it called, um, overstating it. It has to be subtle, uh, and it's a balancing act. Just how dark do you go? How much do you fade it out? How much attention should it have?
When I paint environments, I always make it a really conscious choice to paint the local values. So not work with really blacks or high contrast in those areas, and then as a cheap trick, add some softness or um, um, blurry things over it to work it away, but it's much better to work at the local values, which you would actually see at that place. So work with that really soft, desaturated purple, and then in the midground you'll have more brighter purple that way, and really work with the local colors instead of just painting everything in the same values and then pushing areas back by
Yeah,
painting some transparent layer over it, basically,
yeah, exactly.
because it will give you a sense of depth, but you will also lose a lot of color depth and very nice things you painted up if you just paint it locally and don't just
Yeah,
push it away with some fog or whatever kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, on another topic, I really like the way he painted the woman girl. It's really nice and believable. I like the way the cloth is painted. I think it could be done stronger. It feels a little bit like he doesn't know where to do at the elbow.
But you can see what you talked about earlier, that there is some tension in the folds where you can see
Yeah,
where her movement of the arm is going, basically.
yeah, exactly. It's really nice and it does help sell the emotion and tension and all
Hmm.
these things. So that's kudos to Kuro for that. It sells the idea really well. It just could be slightly tweaked. That's all.
The one thing that I question a little bit from seeing their image right from the beginning is what is that thing beneath the woman? Is that's her leg, right?
Yeah, that's her leg.
That's part of her leg coming through as well.
Yeah. Hey, someone
Yeah, I think this
followed.
connection helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the leg was a little bit odd. It didn't become a part of her. So what I did was just bridge it.
Hmm. At first, I was like, it's like a frog is sitting there looking at her.
Mm,
Sometimes you have to look a little deeper, but now it's connected. I think it makes
mm.
more sense as one body.
You know, I like the idea that she's coming out of the wall. Um, what if? I think first of all, the environment is a little bit. He's a bit too afraid of making it complicated, or hey, someone else followed, uh, or make it less complicated or more complicated. It feels like he's on the fence of where to take the environment. Like there's just some blobs of volume, and then that's it. You know, he hasn't evolved it more. It just feels very safe and carefully placed, but not um, been taken further than the potential of it.
It's too much boxes in perspective. Basically, there could be
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
more shape variation and little bit more diversity and things standing out.
Yeah, and another narrative kind of confusion is where he's been using yellow in the image, and that makes it less unique of where she's coming from. You see, like there's yellow uh, across the image, and I think it's wrong. I mean, one thought that I was having was that what if there's more mirror openings?
Oh yeah, that's also cool. Yeah, kind of like the Matrix. There's all kinds of people entering from their mirrors, entering this world.
Yeah, I mean that would give the image a completely different dimension.
And
And you,
I'm reading the chat where Google says no more environments for me. That's you should do the opposite. You know, just embrace them,
uh, yeah, but
take on the beast.
yeah, it's a tricky. If you don't do it, it's a tricky thing to deal with. It's a completely different rules of playing the game. You know.
And it's not definitely not a bad environment. I like there is some strong elements like repeating shapes. You know, there's
Mm,
pipes with that give a really good sense of scale, basically, and show some of the design of that environment. Basically, there is with the small adjustments, good atmospheric perspective and good depth, and I like the colors and everything. It's just the square boxes stand out a little bit too much still. And if you variate that a little bit, maybe even with some additional colors to add some more color variation even,
yeah.
then you're very well ahead of making a cool environment. So definitely don't steer away from steer away from those. Hello.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he did a really good job. It's just that fingertip feeling of where should I be pushing it further? What do I need to do to make it work? And it's about just doing more environments and figuring those steps out. Uh,
Yep.
and it's scary in the beginning, but the more you do it, the more automatic it's going to be.
And again, I really like it. There's some really good mood in the environment as well. You know, if I look up, I want to really see what's going on in that window up there, and there's all
Mm,
the technical steampunkish thing going on.
yeah,
So
definitely.
it's really cool stuff.
I really like the image. It has lots of potential.
Has a nice softness to it with the color palette he used. It has a very
Mm.
nice, easy to look at appeal. It's not really blasting in high contrast or very hard shades or that kind of stuff. It's really pretty and easy on the eyes. Also, adds a little bit to the dreamlike feeling of it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I really like it. I think Kuru, as far as I remember, Kuru's image um, has the strongest narrative in the sense of it engages me the most.
Hmm.
Like I want to know the story.
Would be ideal for a book cover also.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
And now that you played up that blue purple a little bit, you also get a nice complementary mix between those yellows and those purples that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, it could definitely be a good illustration for a book cover or something. Makes
Oh,
me
yeah.
curious about the story already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then there's I think there's lots of tweaks to be had and changes to be done and so on. But
We even animated her. See, like she's moving her arm up and down. It's everything gets done on these paint overs, like animation, everything, all inclusive
yeah,
package.
I think the colors are a little bit wishy-washy though. Uh, they're a bit grayed out. That there's isn't really a clear palette. I think that could be pushed a lot more. Um, Not like it's weak or anything, but it just feels a bit.
Safe could be a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, exactly. It needs to stand out a little bit more. But
Sometimes
that,
when I'm doing environments at this point, I will just throw a new layer on top with a completely different color and then play with some layer modes basically to really get some different vibes. Or like you with the color lookup thing, you can add some final touches that way.
yeah,
Sometimes give some really good surprising stuff that you would never come up with yourself.
mm-hmm. It's pretty nice. I like that there's a cool, a warm pool of light on the opposite side.
Hmm. Now, kind of the opposite side gets a little bit warm lit from the light coming behind the girl, and the
Yeah,
rest of the environment remains its cool temperatures that it originally had.
yeah. One thing though, I'm missing is the light is intense. Maybe we should see, dust particles or something that ties her to the door more, so that it becomes a motion outwards.
Hmm. Maybe some particles following her, like the magic moment where she goes through the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Just so to help push the idea of she's coming out and the door is opening and the wind is blowing, you know.
Could maybe even think the surface she is leaning on with her leg could have some more contrast and some details basically because it is a focal point and at that point you would have your most details and highest contrast and
Mm,
those kind of things, so you could actually play a little bit with the top surface. Those could be tiles or maybe some metal plates or stuff like that where she's
yeah, yeah.
sitting.
Really sell the idea of where she is. Um, and why she's there.
And if you really want to push that further, you could even use like a classical frame for the mirror. So the old
Mm.
frame of the mirror still shows in this very high-tech metal technical world, basically. You would even
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I like that.
kind of like the old classical mirror is her trusted home, and then this new gold technical world is completely straight and difficult or different shapes is the contrast to that.
Yeah, yeah. And we could also introduce blues on the mirror from the environment to help place it in the world.
Hmm. And also sell a little bit of its material,
Hmm.
making it more uh, metallic that way.
Yeah. Hey, Kilrathi. I think that would. I think it's enough information for Kuru to kind of understand how to take it further.
Hmm.
We could sit and paint forever. Um,
That's the fun part of it, when
yeah.
those paintings take you away, like, hey, wait, yeah, you can do this and that.
Yeah.
It's another strong entry, really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds like we're just kind of shitting on him, but it's really cool. And for everyone we're doing feedback on, it's not about putting anyone down. It's just about seeing things that we would do differently.
And the changes are really like not only this time but also the other times. I don't really think that radical. It's really
No.
about again those last 5% where you bring things forward or push some things back, or bring your focal point into attention a little bit more.
Mm. I
But
mean, some people that do paintovers, they change the image completely. I try not to do that. I just try to make what's there work. I mean, with that being said, uh, I wouldn't do the same sketch, the same solution like he has or like anyone else has. I would do it my way. So I could repaint this the way I would do it, but it wouldn't help Kuro
mhm.
understand where to take his sketch further. Or painting is not a sketch, but you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's been some good points to take this to a final, and he definitely should, because this is
Mm,
again like a book cover illustration. Definitely something you could put in your portfolio.
yeah. So here's Michal Rachwal. I think was this the only one he submitted?
I think those were still in the sketch phase, the
Mm,
painting phase, but I included them, yeah, just to show some different iterations and work in progress, basically.
yeah. I really like the bottom ones. I think they are really cool. I think the composition works really, really good. Uh, what should probably be shown more is what I would do is play with warm and cool more, so that the combine the left and right more or less.
Hmm.
So the shadow is cool, the outside of the mirror.
It's more of a temperature transition.
Yeah, exactly. And have a gradient in the shadows, but all the lit things are single strength, same strength across the image, just so that the shadows closest to the mirror is have the strongest warmth, and the further away, the cooler they get in the shadows. But the light will be equally strong throughout.
And indeed enhance the shape of the mirror a little bit. So it's not just a hole where the light comes from. With that, you can definitely see that it's a mirror in the
Hmm. I really like it. I like this massive hand coming in, and she's like,
image.
"Oh shit!" like crawling backwards. It's really cool. I think it has loads of potential to be a really cool illustration. I think the one above is nice. It sends the message like there's a monster or she's the monster or whatever. But I think the bottom ones have so much more impact.
Story wise, it's really creepy and like yeah, cool. Could be a cool horror book illustration or something.
Yeah,
But
uh,
the top one I think could work really nice if you put it in some white moonlight or something, blue room and then white moonlight. That could
yeah,
really add to the atmosphere of that image.
yeah, absolutely. Also a little bit confusing of the narrative, like what's happening. But I like it that she's like a bit zombie and staring. It's almost like the ring transfixed to the mirror.
hmm
It's really cool.
Surprised by the moment and then caught by that big beast that grabs her attention and is
Mm.
gonna lure her in with that big hair.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the top one are way more mystical. Like you don't get the story initially, and you need to look the second time to get it. The bottom one is instant. You know, you get it. You don't need to guess what's happening. But it's really cool. I really like the his entry.
Yeah, I think seeing you adding those gradients, I think you could really play with a two color scheme indeed, and then add those gradients, and then you still have that very strong illustration feel of those two
Yeah,
complementary colors working this
yeah, absolutely. Um, it's a really cool start, and I wish he would continue exploring them or find time to do it. It's definitely cool stuff, uh, and both compositions tell the story
way.
super really really well.
Yeah, it's writing in the chat that he's gonna learn to plan composition more.
Mm,
But I think it worked out well in these images. So keep doing what you're doing.
yeah, definitely. We could see him do all these thumbnails, and it shows. He got a really good result in the end.
hmm
Okay, Nefas. I think this is Nefas first as well.
Stream image is a little bit slow for me again.
Hmm.
Sorry.
It's around 20
Oh yeah,
seconds.
really cool one as well. And a huge. This was an example I remember of a huge canvas. I think he painted it on 7,700 or something. Really wide, but.
Yeah, sideburns again, by the way.
Tonight, the general theme of tonight is sideburns.
Yeah. That being said, I think her holding the sideburns models the narrative. Like, why is she holding the hair? Doesn't make sense. Uh,
It's kind of like a girl exploring. Okay, what kind of conditioner did you use?
yeah, and it's in a weird way. I mean, obviously, like if she want to run her hands through her hair like a lover, the posing would be differently with the hands. They wouldn't be holding her jaw and her bangs. You know, it would be obviously either running the hands through the hair or holding her face
hmm
gently. You know, and doing both models the narrative.
I think in this image, I very strongly get the feeling that there is a friendly interaction between both characters going on.
Mm,
It's not that she's gonna harm her or whatever. It's kind of like she's gonna share a secret with her, or she's gonna comfort her or something. That's the kind of vibe I get from this one.
yeah, definitely. Uh, Thanks, A Smiles, for the follow. And Zoliso and Saberjin and Wagabon Wagadumbum. What a nickname. Uh,
Really, all those different nicknames from people.
yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Thanks a lot. Uh, yeah, so I think for this one, I really really like it. Uh, it's a really cool entry and it's a really interesting style. It feels a little bit Japanese.
Especially with the rendering of the dress from the girl coming out of the mirror.
Hmm.
It has that kind of Chinese Japanese rendering feel to it somewhat.
Yeah, I think the issue is a lot of rendering issues is with the hair. It doesn't feel like hair. Um, it flows oddly in the
And the thing
way.
that stands out for me instantly is the darkness and the high contrast of that girl's hair. Basically, it's almost as if her hair is the most important element in the image. Where, of course, their interaction and the surprise with the woman coming out of the mirror is the most important part of the picture.
Mm,
Because it's so dark and high contrast, my attention is kind of immediately drawn to her hair. So definitely consider lightening that up somewhat. Also because maybe I think there's a very strong top light, so she would definitely be more lit even if she had black hairs, basically.
mm. But I don't mind the hair that much actually. But it's definitely too dark. Uh, I'm gonna increase the contrast even further by lightening the background. But I'm gonna lift out the black from the hair.
Just as an example, in the background you see these vertical lines going up, and they're almost in the same value range as the dress from the woman coming out of the window. So,
Hmm.
as an indication, you can know that the woman coming out of the mirror, I have to say, is darker, should be darker than that element further away. So,
Mm.
you would always have a hint that you have to push the background back a little bit to not be in the same value range.
Yeah, but it's a cool image. I really like the narrative. I like that uh, it's a gentle image rather than a horror.
Hmm.
I think that's a cool thing to be able to do. Um, a lot of like obviously so far most of them are scary. So that's an interesting thing to see that Nefas decided to go friendly.
Hmm. Yeah, it really adds to the mystery as well. Sometimes in monsters, I agree. So the previous one with the hand is really obvious, like, "Ooh, this is a tense, scary moment."
Hmm.
But this is actually, in a way, kind of like lures you in that you start questioning what's going on between those two characters, and did they know each other already, and what's their connection and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
really adds to the mystery a lot. And
definitely.
I also think that the chosen background colors with those soft purples and yellowish things also works really cool for that soft vibe, basically.
Hmm.
Although overall, I think that maybe especially in the foreground with the two characters, there could be some more darker uh, values and a little bit more high contrast, maybe to
Yeah.
set it apart from the background even more and to really make the narrative really about the two characters. Maybe
Hmm.
some highlights from the light or something.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of background noise that competes with attention.
Hmm. Maybe even blurring the entire background out with a Gaussian blur a little bit could work too.
Oh, we can try.
That way you don't need to add much sharpness to the characters in the foreground, but really push the background a little bit further. Really like that right corner with the chimney with the little elements on there. Also another mirror over there.
Yeah.
Cool classical still life feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that works. Pops out the characters a little bit more like a movie frame or something, where the camera has the background out of focus and more sharpness on the foreground, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Nefas has done a really cool image. There's small issues. I think that could be solved in a more efficient way. Um, that's to remove some confusion in the narrative and volumes and focal points. But like I said, like I always said, the last 5% are the hardest. You know, like at what point do you start removing information or adding information to enhance the narrative, to enhance the story, the illustration, the technique, you know. The more you try to push it, the stronger you'll just make your images.
Mm-hmm. Somehow thinking if there could be in the overall image somewhat of a temperature change as well, but I don't really see where or how that could happen. Overall, I think we're in a very soft purple, greenish palette. I would like to see maybe some warmer tones somewhere, maybe some
Yeah,
oranges or.
I think the problem is yet again it's a monochromatic palette. There's not a temperature shift.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm gonna experiment with now is just pushing the palette a little bit further apart.
Kind of like you did with the last image with Google's as well. It's,
Yeah, a little bit. And then as they are apart a bit, bring them back together with a general treatment on top.
looking at it now, I think that the background could also be like there could be elements standing against the wall or something, but it also looks a little bit now like they could be between or behind glass, you know, like these cupboards or vitrines or something, where all these objects are shown in like a glass cupboard or something, and then you could really show a little bit of reflections on the glass in the background. Just thought I'm having about the environment, basically.
Yeah.
And maybe the point where she comes out of the mirror, it's kind of like there's a solid surface right now that she is popping through, where maybe some glow or maybe some even some fog or cloud brushes things could make it a little bit more mysterious and also have less of a hard transition that way. While I also like that hard transition when looking at it, it's gives quite a good idea how she comes out of
Yeah.
it. Really has this movie scene feel to it. I think the canvas could even be a little bit wider, even to enhance that feeling.
Yeah, I think I think though it's really great framing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to change it too much. It has a nice tight crop to it. But like with many entries, uh, a big problem is having a wide enough palette without having it a kitchen sink palette. You know, you just throw everything in there and it doesn't matter. Or and the opposite is that a lot of people are scared of doing more colors and it becomes quite monochromatic and dead. And it's as it's very common to see on online people doing very safe palettes and that they becomes very monochromatic and uninteresting to look at.
Hmm.
Uh, the best artists tend to have the ability to infuse a lot of life into the colors, even though the palettes are not very wide, but they have complexity to them.
And also, although it is something you can add in those last 5% and in the last part of the image, it's something that is best to keep in mind during the entire image, right? That you
Yeah,
try
yeah, but
to.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, the general, like I've said before, I mean, the general like warm light, cool shadows, etc., etc. The more you pay attention to those things, the more you plan ahead for those things, you can easily adjust when you get to that point. Like, okay, now I need to start adding complexity, and because you've been separating values and colors and volumes from the get-go just by slightly having a difference in them, all the changes you're going to do on top is already going to be um,
Icing on the cake.
exactly.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's also when you look at these images a little bit longer when you're overpainting them. When we're talking about them, it's you spend a little bit more time than you usually do looking at an image. You know, when you scroll
Mm,
to Facebook or to a forum or the Discord or whatever, the images go by and you go, ah, that's a cool image. But looking at them longer or doing overpaints and everything really makes you appreciate all the stuff that people put in the images. You know, it's really cool to see that all the details and all the story elements and things thought about.
yeah,
Cool stuff.
I agree. I shifted the eyes so that she's actually looking at her and not looking behind her above her head.
It's a handsome lady. I wouldn't mind her coming out of my mirror. The only thing I see is my ugly face in it all the time.
Yeah.
But still waiting.
Where's my creepy ghost lady?
Yeah, works cool with those.
Yes. Thanks for the submission, Nefas. I think the narrative works really well. I think Nefas obviously submitted it this way. Either way works. Uh, in this way, it's like a triangle pointing to the right. We read ghost lady and then girl, and this way we read girl, ghost lady.
Hmm.
So it's up to Nefas which he thinks works best. Either way doesn't break the image. Both compositions work uh, in this entry.
Yes, very nice. I say also if you squint a little, you really get that movie frame feel from it.
Mm. Nefas. Probably also one last thing. Um, probably
Pink brightens up the skin folds. Sorry.
mm, separate her from the background a little bit. There was quite a lot of pink in the immediate surroundings. But cool image.
Yes, definitely. Surprising first entry. Good way to start entering the challenges. Impressive.
Mm. So, Sayart. I really like it. It's like an Egyptian. The story is obviously three different uh, versions of her, maybe, and they all holding the lantern. So she obviously sees herself in three different lights. Um, I really like. Yeah, go ahead.
Different parts of her personality, perhaps, that she sees reflected.
Or gods. Uh, and I also like the Easter eggs.
Yes, obviously. I still have to find all of them, but I came across some familiar names indeed for the people who like a puzzle.
Yeah, and it's rigged over here. Lurib Nefas, Amir,
Ah, yeah.
Dennis Hovers, Inc.
Yes, yes, yeah. You discovered more than I had already.
And here's my logo. 30-minute warm-up time. Discord. Microphone for Dennis. Guru. It's good stuff.
Yep. Good much to the community.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think there's if we saturate, it's a value issue. Like the middle one you see goes dark, and there's a lot of strange contrast in the mirror reflections. They become pasted illustrations rather than uh, views into another dimension in that way. One way I would do is from her lantern. Her lantern, the light is very isolated. Like the drop off is falls too quickly. What I would
Kind of
do,
have to introduce the lights from this world into their worlds, basically.
yeah, more. Um, so what I would have done is I would have made the light a lot more local, and the mirror not being so evenly lit, and having it a lot more spookily lit, and having like reflections in the mirror from uh, the lantern,
Hmm.
and then push back the mirror a lot more.
Still, obviously, keep all the story elements and characters in there visible, but
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
unify them in the scene more and have this world influence the reflection and their images more.
Yeah, exactly. So that now that because the like if you think about my comment saying it feels like they're in a separate illustration pasted into the world. Uh, that's not a bad thing in theory if um, you want to capture that feeling. Like they are. It's just like a door that's been opened into another world. Then they should have their own contrast. They should have their own value range. So by placing everything around it correctly with light and so on, makes their worlds okay. So what I'm doing in the middle one is just kind of hazing the atmosphere with her lantern, and her yet again feels quite bulky and manly. Women and girls tend to have a lot weaker arms and less bulk. In general, obviously, there's women with muscles. I'm not saying that women don't have muscles, but in general, they're a lot more delicate. Men are designed to take hits. Women are not designed to take hits. One thing I think is missing is her other arm.
That's also a common theme tonight. We're missing arms tonight.
Yeah. One thing is what is the story for her second hand? You know, if she she can point into the painting, she can have a hand relaxed by her side.
Maybe her other hand is holding the cleaning brush or something.
Yeah,
Holding off to her body. That was her previous activity before the light lit
yeah,
those scenes in the middle.
yeah, exactly. But then we come to a second thing, that if we're gonna add a second arm, which indicates emotion or movement or something, she's standing quite squared up. You know, feet are squared with the hip, which is pointing in the same direction, with the shoulders that are pointing the same direction. Is becoming quite statuesque, like there's no life to her. So the question comes in, like, what's that second arm gonna do? Why is she standing there? And it becomes a little bit lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest, try to have some motion to her, or offset limbs, so that they're not just so she's so squared off.
I'm thinking her legs are a little bit short, right? Or
Yeah, yeah. The perspective is, I get what he's trying to do, what Sayert is trying to do, but yeah, proportions are off. Head's too big. For the perspective of everything else in the scene. If we look at the box and the ellipses and so on,
mm-hmm.
her head is definitely too big. It's the thing that breaks rather than everything else is breaking her proportions. You know, with everything in the scene here, it's also becoming a little bit monochromatic. One thing a lot of people do is just that, just sample the colors that are in the image rather than introducing something from the beginning that that adds complexity and real world, uh, like colors that interact with each other. It's hard to explain, I guess, but
It's for when I do environments, I always make it a conscious choice that when I introduce a really new color into the scene, I make sure that I color pick that, and then I just try to have it in other spots of the same image as well. Just to get an overall feel of colors being reused and things being in the same world. Basically, it's really easy to just pick a color and spread it out over on little elements of the image. Sometimes on low opacity, sometimes a little bit darker, or that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's a really weird thing that if you just pick one color and then you apply it to another element in the scene, and maybe a third element in the scene has a little bit of that color as well, it kind of instantly unifies things. It
Hmm.
doesn't even need to be very noticeable. It can be very subtle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how adding a little bit of darkness over the mirror framework also really enhanced the look of the material feel for that. Now it really feels like that old Egyptian woodwork, golden kind of material. Looks really
Mm.
cool that way. And it's a cool mirror design anyway. It's
Yeah, it's really nice.
I think you could even brighten up that light from outside also a little bit. If there would be a moonlight sky, then there would be quite a lot of light coming in. Or maybe there's elements outdoor like street lights or something that provide a little bit of light.
Mm.
That way you could have some difference between the two sheets on hanging on the mirror with a little bit more of that light coming from the outside reflecting on them.
Yeah.
And at the same time have like some sort of diagonal angle pointing inwards to the image again.
Yeah. But that's like a lot of the mistakes people do is that they limit the palette too much. But it's a part of I guess not knowing enough. Um, let me try to remember what's it called. What's that movie when these kids go through a wardrobe? Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a friend of mine worked on Narnia. Uh, he's a really good illustrator, and he uses a lot of colors. Um, I posted it on Discord before. That is not what I wanted to do. There we go. And you can see, like, if you would apply this to everyone else's, like how they would start doing it, there wouldn't, like, he has a temperature shift between what is being lit and what's in shadow, but also like the light coming in from the window is heating up the floor. We can see it, like it heats up, and it heats up the wall, it heats up parts of her skirt, it heats up underneath her face. Um, but also the cool light coming from this window changes the highlights, the temperature of the highlights on the table,
Mm-hmm.
while the bounce light on the wall over here is warm because light comes in and bounces over there. But a lot of people on the challenges, they're thinking correctly but not big enough. They need to think more of like real world situations and try to add complexity without losing the core of the what they want to say or show, and what colors should they use. So with that being said, like we look at the cardboard box, it's yellow originally, you know, cardboard. What if blue comes on it? What does it? How does it change the behavior of the cardboard? If light comes in through the window, is it moonlight? What does it do to the materials it starts to shine on? all these things that
I think it's very difficult sometimes to prioritize the light, right? Where you have to really pick one main light source, and everything is kind of obedient to that, and then
yeah
from there on you start adding your second light source, and then you really start looking at how are all the elements in the scene affected by that second light source, and only then you move on to the next light source again,
mm,
so that you're sure that every light that you introduce in the scene affects all the elements in the right way, kind of like you would in a 3D program. When you add an additional light in there, all the elements are affected by that, basically.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very tricky, but the more you think about it, the more you practice it, the more complex the palette in the image is going to be, and the more subtleties and like gradients, etc. You're going to be applying, and it's going to be a huge difference in the long run because you're going to be more aware of what you're doing. It's a common mistake on all entries so far. The kind of monochromatic uh, application.
So the kind of tip would be like when people feel that they've taken their image to the stage they have with these challenges, take a step back and really see like how you could liven up the scene with additional light sources, or maybe light affecting the elements in a different way,
Yeah,
or
or go through all the light sources and think
Mhm.
which part is being affected by what. Where should I add more complexity? Where should I add bounce light? Where should light be coming back into the object? You know, is the
Mhm.
object reflective, or just have a checklist almost, and the result is going to be significantly different just by being aware of it.
Mhm. I really like how that light looks on that wooden floor now. It gives a really cool reflection that way.
Mm. It's a really cool image. I think everything that is needed is there. It just needs more pushing, more of just making the mood and location more believable. He's done a great foundation job. Now it's just a matter of upping upping everything that's there. Just make it more and more complex.
The last 5% again, the most
Yes,
important ones.
it's the trickiest ones.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. And another quality image from Sayart.
Mm.
I'm definitely also gonna look back at it to discover all the Easter eggs in there. I haven't found all of them myself yet. It's always fun discovering images that way.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. Lots of Easter eggs. Say art. I think the last one here, Sofa Strider. I think it's really cool. It's very creepy, and I like it that there is a story in here. Um,
I got a very multi-dimensional feel from it, which I really like a lot. Where
yeah,
I'm kind of lost in the image, like where in space am I? But where normally that would be a downside, I think this really enhances it for this image that way.
hmm definitely. Uh, it makes me think about lots of things. It's a little bit alms in this way. Uh, that we get so much to think about and so much things to look at. Very much like that alms one with Alien
Hmm.
uh, Park one.
With all the people in the park and plants growing and all that stuff, busy.
Yeah, yeah. that there's lots of things to look at and experience, and but just like arms, it's about presentation and organizing everything so that it reads correctly. Um, there's also tangents here and there.
Again, really benefiting from separating the different planes and the value ranges
Yeah,
to really
but
make.
the idea is really cool. There's certain things here, like this micro poster that's probably behind her, on the wall behind her, but it's lit the same way. So I would reduce intensity of that so it's further back. And the one thing that I noticed is this guy. What is he doing? He's like hiding over here.
That's her husband. Oh, the guy in the corner, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a creepy guy looking from behind the desk.
But if
The
the
screen was a little bit behind, and you were working
yeah
on the top of the image there.
yeah.
Was
So if
like,
this thing here in the background is the mirror reflection of this thing in the foreground, uh,
hmm
then
So
we
we're actually looking through those red eyes, I think.
we are the red eye thing. Ooh,
It's us.
that's
We're looking
awesome.
at ourselves.
That is pretty cool. That's a little bit like Inception.
Yeah.
I'd say that is the first time I've experienced that. That's pretty cool.
Welcome to the fourth dimension.
Yeah,
Sofa Strangler taking us there.
yeah. Courtesy of Sofa Straggler International.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, this image has me kind of guessing where am I in this whole
Mm-hmm.
dimension. And when it falls into place, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. Really surprising. I dig it. Like, I think what he just needs to do is help pushing what's mirror and what is reality in the image.
hmm
Mostly it's due to like just tonal. You can make it a lot cooler and wash out some of the blacks. Usually that occurs in the mirror just by decreasing focus so that one part is slightly toned differently so that when we look at the image we get it. Okay, this is the reflection aspect, this is the reality aspect. It was a really cool image.
hmm And another example of what happens if you look at images just a little bit longer. You know, just
Mm.
as a tip for people when you're on Facebook or on the Discord or whatever kind of stuff, when you look through people's images, you often, you know, are looking at a small screen or just the thumbnails. But you know, take the time to just open the big image, start looking around, and it's really cool to explore and discover what people put in there. You might actually have some takeaways from that yourself, where
Hmm.
exploring images deeper than you normally do.
Yeah. One thing I don't get though is these green dots and the like lumps. That is the only thing that's a bit confusing for me. Like
hmm
which one is the reflection, which one is the yeah, it's a bit weird. Right, yeah, so that's the Sofa Strangler saying the two crowns. Like that's the one thing I noticed is the reflection. The monster here, right, is wearing a crown and she's seeing herself wearing a crown. That was one of the first things I saw. Um, but it's also a bit confusing uh, when it comes to reflections. Uh, she's obviously taped drawing on the mirror. Yeah, it's proper like Inception. Fourth, what's it called? Fourth wall? Is that what
Yep.
it's called? It's really cool. It's really cool. I really like this. I'd love Sofa Strangler to finish it. It's really like a cinema moment.
Ah, right. He's explaining those are tentacles which are only visible in the mirror, so we wouldn't see them in the real world. That's why they
Right,
are not blocking her, basically.
right. I
Otherwise,
think,
we wouldn't see her from the backside.
yeah, it's an old drawing taped on the mirror. I get that part. I think that's cool. I think you just need to show that's they are tentacles a little bit more. You know that they have twists and turns. They have uh, things moving.
I think maybe some white horizontal lines over her reflection and over the could indicate that it's glass a little bit more and that it's not two figures opposing each other in the same world. So
Mm,
maybe adding a little bit of texture on top of her reflection, maybe a white light reflection or a white little brush stroke or something. I find that usually helps to show like water surface or glass surface a little bit.
yeah, but I'd say if there is a winner out of these, I'd say Sofa Strangler. There's no winners at all in the challenge, mind you. But I really like Sofa Strangler's idea. It's a really cool one.
It was a little mindfuck, that one.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit unsettling. It's a really cool image, and I think the way the narrative of it is super simple but strong. It's really cool. I dig it. I dig it also that we see ourselves there.
Yep.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's again really cool to see all the different interpretations. I post the challenge topics up there, and obviously I have some sort of a mind image myself. Like, this is what it could look like,
Hmm.
and then you see all the interpretations of it. And I know we say it all the time and every time, but it is really cool to see people interpret it on their own way, and everybody taking it in a different direction.
Yeah.
And not
Um,
only that, but also seeing everybody's different styles and how, with just a little bit of polish, you can really bring everybody's story and style forward. Also,
hmm.
it should also be really encouraging for people that it's, the ideas are good and the images just need those final 5 or 10%
Yeah.
formulation, basically, and then you really have good ideas and good images to work with.
Yeah. The hardest part is, like I always say, is the idea is the hardest part. What can you come up with?
Hmm.
Technical aspect is always easy. It's just mileage. You just need to do it more, and you'll get automatically good at it. Uh, but getting a good idea is really hard.
You can learn how to paint an image, but you can't learn to come up with what you want to paint.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yep. Cool intimate scene as well. Kind of pulls you in there.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I really like it. I think the green is a bit overpowering. It's almost like eyes glowing, but it's a really cool painting.
painting.
Mm-hmm. Made it spooky.
Some horror greens over there.
Yeah. It's really cool. I'm really, yet again, we have had tons of really cool entries to this challenge. Can't wait for next 2 weeks to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, the next challenge has been posted. Gonna make, guys gonna make a vile leprechaun. Curious how that will work out.
That sounds really, really fantastic. What an interesting topic. Vile leprechaun. Pretty tasty.
And some light on the ground, of course.
Yeah,
But if we light up the ground, then we also must light up those red eyes to really sell that idea for.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's like stating the obvious a bit too much. Like
Yeah,
I
we
don't
keep it
want to.
like the secret discovery, like we have.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be like after a while you go, what's that? Why isn't that in the reflection? And you go, oh shit, it's us. We are the fourth wall. We are breaching her mirror because tentacles aren't there, right? Crown isn't there, but we see us in the mirror, which means we are more than the reflection. It's crazy. It's madness. It's a cool one. All right. Uh, Thanks everyone for the challenge entries. I'm quite sure we have gone through all now. Yes.
Double check.
That is all.
Good stuff. Good to see more new people entering also.
Mm,
Always cool to see more interpretations.
absolutely. Um, so the stream is going to end, and everyone is welcome to go to the Hangout that's in the welcome channel on Discord, and we'll take it from there. I'm not going to stream it, so we don't need to mind our words. I'm gonna just take a short break of maybe some whiskey. Might be a bad move. Yet
Or a
again,
really good move. You never
yeah, who knows? But I'll end the stream and see you everyone on Monday morning at the regular time. Thanks everyone again for the entries, and good luck with the next challenge. It's already posted.
Good work, everybody, and see you next time.
All right, excellent. I'll kill the hangout, Dennis, and kick in the outro. So catch you on Hangout.
Arrivederci.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Have a fantastic day. Good night. Whatever. Adieu.